Today on the Morning Edition, a search and rescue effort ends in tragedy when an out-of-state hiker is found dead near Mendenhall Glacier. What authorities believe happened that led to his death. Plus, they were originally brought to Alaska for their beauty, but wildlife officials say they can be detrimental to the environment. Which trees are now banned statewide? And later, Sasquatch wannabes flex their vocal cords to see who can best impress the mythical beast. As the Morning Edition starts now. Good Wednesday morning, everyone. Thanks for waking up with us today. And we have the lovely Jackie Purcell joining us on the Morning Edition.
Sasquatch. You know who would love that? Howie Gordon.
Howie Gordon would love. He was a Bigfoot fanatic to the max.
That's right.
So we're past Labor Day. Can we say we're kind of in a fall now?
I'll admit that, yeah.
Yeah, the leaves are starting to turn.
They are, and they're starting to fall in some areas. Let's check out where we are as we start off our day here in the Anchorage area. Light enough that during the 6 o'clock hour, there is some light, so fall is with us, and you can see a little bit of fog as well. 53 degrees currently at Anchorage International Airport with winds that are calm. As we take a look at the big picture, hey, kids out there for your bus stop forecast, we're into the 50s this morning. Cloudy skies are hanging out there, but there's going to be a possible shower or two through the day. So look for that as you're heading home. Daytime highs, though, should get into the low 60s, so something to look forward to. Here's a look at our satellite and radar imagery. There's the storm system out towards southwest Alaska that's moving across the Aleutians into the southwestern section of the state with rain in the outlook for that part of the state. Meantime, high pressure still holding into the Gulf of Alaska, bringing some really nice weather conditions to southeast Alaska through the day, but we'll be watching into northwest Alaska, flooding conditions, also along Ski Lac Lake and even into Petersville. But in southeast Alaska, it's warmth and some sunshine. They will see some heat advisories as they go through the day. So our forecast for, as I mentioned, that we're watching those flooding concerns are specifically out of the Kenai area, Ski Lac Lake, where there could be a glacier release. So they could see some water going into the river system. But as far as the Anchorage forecast, we're going to be seeing a chance of showers tapering off as we head into our Friday, but sticking with us as we start off our Wednesday, going through much of the day. Kristen?
In this morning's top story, Alaska state troopers say a boat captain was shot after threatening police with a hatchet as nearly $1 million worth of drugs were taken by authorities in Sandpoint. Adelmi Ruiz joins us now from the newsroom with what we know. Adelmi.
Kristen, troopers say officers confiscated more than a pound of methamphetamine from the vessel, along with 35 grams of heroin. Police were guarding the docket ship Monday afternoon when they say the boat's captain attempted to escape by getting back on board the vessel and threatened officers with a hatchet when they tried to capture him. That's when an officer shot the captain, who was given emergency medical care and later medevaced for treatment. The Alaska Bureau of Investigation is overseeing the case before the Alaska Office of Special Prosecutions conducts its own independent review. Drug busts like this one are reportedly surging in Alaska, with state troopers pointing to a sharp rise in 2024. Taking a look at those numbers, authorities say seizures jumped 76% overall year to year, with the biggest increases in methamphetamine, fentanyl, and heroin. According to the Alaska Beacon, at Anchorage's Ted Stevens International Airport alone, more than 317 pounds of illegal drugs were confiscated in 2024, about 1/3 of which was fentanyl. Troopers say the rise shows just how active traffickers are across the state and why enforcement remains a top priority. Kristen?
All right, thanks, Adelmi. New this morning, a Metlakatla woman is formally charged in her husband's death after authorities say she stabbed him during an argument over the weekend. According to court documents, police found 33-year-old Jade Jordan outside of her home covered in blood. Officers say she appeared intoxicated. Officers also found her husband lying face down on the driveway with stab wounds, yet still alive. He was taken to a medical clinic where he later died. Jordan told police she stabbed her husband in self-defense. Charging documents say Jordan and the victim were celebrating their wedding anniversary the night before. She's charged with criminally negligent homicide. Troopers say an Arizona man fell to his death near the Mendenhall Glacier. He was found amid a search effort after he was reported overdue. Troopers say 69-year-old Thomas Casey was last seen the morning of August 30th. He reportedly left no details about where he was going or when he would be back. When he didn't return, his cell phone was pinged to a remote area between Thunder Mountain and Nugget Creek trails. Search crews from Juneau Mountain Rescue and Sea Dogs canine teams scoured the area. Casey's body was discovered Sunday evening near the west side of the glacier. Troopers believe he died from injuries in a fall. The FBI says a Wainwright man is facing child exploitation charges, and they're looking for more of his victims to come forward. This is 31-year-old Robert Segavin. He's been indicted on attempted production of child sexual abuse material and possession and receipt of it, among other charges. Segavin was arrested July 30th in Wainwright. Authorities say he also has ties to Utqiagvik and Kaktovik. Authorities are now asking if anyone recognizes these usernames to come forward. They're Ethan Allen, Tukak, Robert Segavin 20 or Robert Segavin 24 to come forward. Investigators say tips could help identify additional victims and strengthen the case. The FBI contact information is linked on our website. Alaska is receiving $183.4 million in funding for road improvements. The Federal Highway Administration awarded the funds through its annual program that reallocates unused money to states ready to build. The cash, nearly 1/3 of Alaska's highway formula funding, will pay for safety upgrades, bridge and pavement preservation access, and non-motorized projects. DOT says work is already happening on the Glen and Seward highways, with more improvements planned in Juneau, Ketchikan, and Fairbanks. Alaska is known for its vast supply of water, but new research warns the state may be entering a massive drying zone. Scientists say changing climate patterns could impact everything from vegetation and wildfire risk to access to that much-needed fresh water. Joe Allgood explains.
Water is one of the most abundant natural resources in the state of Alaska. So how is it that new research suggests the state is in a massive mega drying zone?
Water is really the messenger about climate change, and bringing that bad news about climate change to your neighborhood or to your front door.
Professor Jay Famiglietti was working at the Saskatchewan Institute for Water Security when he started looking at data taken from NASA satellites.
So I started looking at Canada and Canada as a whole and the river basins, and I was like, this is not what I thought. I thought things were getting wetter, and they were, but as we update this, they're not.
The further he looked, the larger the area spread.
In the past, we just draw a circle around the Alaskan glaciers, and that would be it. We'd draw a circle around, the Central Valley in California, and we'd move on. Now it's all sort of, coming together.
As those areas have increased by twice the size of California each year, climate scientists in Alaska have also taken notice.
Droughts in Alaska, as you mentioned, it's something that people, even here in the Weather Service, we've only really started talking about it in the last decade or so.
Though the state receives more rainfall, dryness continues to increase.
Paradoxically, even though our rainfall is increasing by 5-10% over the last few decades, when it's not raining, it's really drying out faster. And so you can have the situation where you have more intense droughts and you're getting wetter at the same time.
That could have impacts on vegetation, fire ecology, and flooding, like that seen in the state over the last couple years. And in the long term, people's access to fresh water.
In many respects, Alaska has close to an unlimited supply of water. Now, matching where people are to the water is a big issue.
It's just knocking on a lot more front doors now than ever before.
For right now, water is still an abundant resource in Alaska, but researchers and scientists from around the world will continue to look at trends like these to figure out where our water is going. Joe Allgood, Alaska's news source.
Well, for the first time, Alaska is banning two invasive trees, the European bird cherry and chokecherry. The order went into effect Monday and prohibits the importation, transport, and sale of these two specific trees. The trees were first introduced to the state as ornamental trees meant for decoration, but state and local officials have been trying to remove them over the years, and this new policy should help with that effort. We spoke with the Division of Agriculture Director Brian Scoresby, who says the trees along stream banks can hurt salmon habitats, and the berries can also be toxic to moose.
If a moose eats chokecherry bushes, the little branches off of those, it'll actually cause a cyanide poisoning, can kill moose. That's been documented several times, and no one wants to have one of those in their front yard.
So if you have these types of trees in your yard, Scoresby says be conscious of the environment. There's also groups that can come out and help you remove them as well. Coming up, summer may be over, but many gardens are still in full bloom. We'll show you how a student-run garden at UAF offers a space for the community to grow their own flowers and veggies right after this in today's Arctic Gardens.
And here's a look at that sun data for Anchorage, Fairbanks, Juneau, as well as Utqiagvik. We're talking about fall, but I'll tell you what, Juneau, you're going to get some summer weather. We'll have more on the forecast coming up.
And welcome back. We're taking a look at, normally we're looking at Katmai. I'm not really sure where this is, Jackie, but it's a nice view.
Looks like there's bugs.
Yeah, you do see some bugs, water. It looks nice.
Yes, it does. We're going to have to figure that out. But it looks beautiful.
It does.
Let's check out what our weather is doing. And if we go to our weather computer, hey, you talked about fall. Look at those fall colors.
Beautiful.
Along the Richardson Highway. And thank you to Jesse Gakal. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name, but that's what I said. And we're going to thank you for that. And look at the glaciers just kind of riding down out of the mountains. You can see those brilliant yellows and the fall colors there along the Richardson Highway. But we do have to talk about the weather. For Southeast Alaska, hey, you have some sunshine, but it's going to come along with a heat advisory that will go through the day. It's supposed to expire at 7 p.m. tonight. Why? The capital city is expected to hit 80 degrees today. In the Aleutians, as well as Southwest Alaska, we're looking at some rain, and that rain could even impact parts of the South Central region. But too much rain, too much wet weather, that's a problem in Petersville, as well as along the Ski Lac Lake. Different reasons. Petersville has some high water, but the Ski Lac Lake area, that's a glacier-dammed lake. If it releases, that could put a lot of water flowing right into the Kenai River. Here's a look at our current conditions across the state. We have 47 degrees out towards St. Paul Island, with 40s over West Coast locations all the way into McGrath and even Fairbanks. Fairbanks at 41 degrees, 43 with rain reported out of Utqiagvik. And Dead Horse, you're at 39 here in the last hour. Juneau, 48 degrees, but as I mentioned, on their way to the 70s and close to that 80-degree mark in parts of the Panhandle through the day. Kodiak Island, mostly cloudy skies, currently at 58 degrees. We've had that ridge of high pressure that brought some of that nice weather to South Central, but it has moved into Southeast Alaska. And with that ridge, it positions areas of low pressure kind of butting up against that ridge of high pressure. A lot of that moisture will ride up and over. So Southwest Alaska, it's being steered right into your part of the state. Parts of interior as well as South Central will get that. And as we saw, even Utqiagvik is seeing some rain showers this morning. So that is going to be the weather pattern as we go through the next 24, even 48 hours. We'll see that wet weather through and even windy conditions through the Aleutians, eventually pushing into the South Central region as that ridge of high pressure slips a little bit farther to the east. So here's that low bringing in the rain for us today through Southwest Alaska. It will lift north through the next couple of days. And while it is lifting north, that ridge shifts to the east. The nice weather sticks around for most of the week for the Panhandle, but they'll see some changes as they head into the weekend. And toward Friday, yet another area of low pressure on the far west end of the Aleutians with that front starting to move through. So here's a look at our day planner for the Anchorage area. We'll see those temperatures into the 50s at least through midday. Then will break that 60-degree mark and even up to 64 degrees. But a lot of that wet weather will stay just to our west. So sections of the Kenai Peninsula will see some of that wet weather, about 0.2 of an inch through tomorrow evening around Seward, and then lighter amounts as we head into Anchorage. Also, Wasilla, Talkeetna could get about 0.15 of an inch. We'll have more on the forecast coming up during our morning newscast here.
Between a botanical garden and an experimental garden, the University of Alaska Fairbanks campus houses a variety of growing opportunities. Alex Bengal takes us inside in this week's Arctic Gardens.
A garden for those without a space of their own to grow. The UAF Community Garden, lying along a walk path between campus and nearby West Valley High School, houses 146 beds, more than 3 times what it started with in 2012.
A student club runs the garden. We have a club of students that's who's in charge of answering the emails. They help do the maintenance in the garden, that kind of thing.
Running from about late May to mid-September, priority for garden beds goes to those who have used the space before, then to the UAF community, then opens up to the community at large, at a price per bed.
The purpose is to give people that don't have the space or that want to have be part of a larger group gardening experience to be able to come here and do that.
Brassicas, peas, carrots, and turnips among the items grown.
We also have people that will put like plastic over their garden beds and build little mini greenhouses so they can do tomatoes and peppers and cucumbers and those warm weather crops.
Growers learning as they go, doing whatever they want with their produce, and building community with work parties and cookouts. Alex Bengal, Alaska's News Source.
You've been listening to the Alaska's News Source podcast. Subscribe to have the latest episodes delivered to your library automatically.